Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Wrestlepedia, and today we are going to talk about Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown Live, because they were the go-home shows for the Royal Rumble, which is taking place this Sunday, which actually I'm very excited for, because this could possibly be the least predictable Rumble in the past, 5 years. So, Monday Night Raw kicked off with Roman Reigns, of course. Who else is going to kick off the show? And basically he comes out saying how, he's going to win the Rumble, whatnot, whatever. And then Owens and Jericho come out. And I can't exactly remember what Owens and Jericho said, but Reigns basically wanted a rematch for the United States title. And Kevin Owens, of all people, gives it to him, and Jericho's quite pissed about it. But the match happened regardless. We'll get to that later. That's the end of the night. And then there was Cesaro with Sheamus versus Luke Gallows with Carl Anderson. And, this was just the same old thing as it usually is. And I hate it because Gallows and Anderson are such a amazing tag team. I mean, I've seen a lot of what they did in Japan with the Bullet Club and everything, and they deserve a lot more than what they're getting, honestly. I don't know where they're going with them. I just hope they get the belts sooner rather than later, because if anybody deserves them belts, it's definitely Gallows and Anderson. I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus, I've loved them ever since they teamed them together, because for the longest time I could not stand Sheamus, but I always liked Cesaro. But I don't know, ever since they had that bar segment on Raw where they just basically demolished everybody in the bar, I thought that was pretty good to bring them together as a tag team. But yeah, so that happened. Luke Gallows picked up the victory, basically giving me the opinion that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to win at the Rumble. I don't know. So then there was a backstage segment with Mick Foley talking on speakerphone with Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie was on speakerphone, not Mick, but Mick was talking to her, and then Sami Zayn walks past and he asks, what do I got to do to be in the Rumble or whatever? And Mick goes, "Hey, you're Sami Zayn. You're already in the Rumble." Then Steph kind of overheard that from Mick, and she said, "Did you just grant basically permission for Sami Zayn to be in the Rumble?" And Mick says, "Well, yeah, I did." And she asked to be took off speakerphone, and her thing was she wanted Sami Zayn to face Seth Rollins. And if Sami Zayn won, he was in the Rumble. But if Seth lost, he wasn't in the Rumble. So then later in the night, they face each other, and they put on a very, very good match. And honestly, the match was kind of like a teaser of what they could do together. And my opinion is, the fact that Kenny Omega just put on that 6-star match in New Japan, well, I think if there was any chance of anybody putting on a 6-star match in the WWE, it would be Sami Zayn with Seth Rollins. Because, them two both have the ability to do that, and they're so good. But anyways, they wrestled back and forth for quite a while, put on a really good match, and then of all things that happened, Triple H's music hit, which the crowd went absolutely ballistic, and as did I, because I was pretty excited for that to finally happen. But he didn't show up, which allowed Sami Zayn to pick up the victory via a roll-up pin. And you could tell Sami, didn't like winning like that, but he did, because anybody else would have done the same thing, so he did it. But I'm hoping this leads to the big Seth and Triple H match at WrestleMania that everybody wants to see, because I think that would finally, give Seth Rollins his full babyface turn and finally give him something to fight for with Triple H, who robbed him of his victory of the Universal title back on Raw after, Finn Balor had to relinquish it. So I'm hoping, because you could see that as that happened and Triple H never showed up, Seth Rollins looked pissed as he ever was, and it instantly just gave him a shot of intensity that we haven't seen from Seth in quite a while. And I'm hoping it'll lead to better things for him because he is a guaranteed superstar. And then another thing happened where we had the 6-man tag match in the Cruiserweight division. Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, and Drew Gulak versus Mustafa Ali, TJ Perkins, and Jack Gallagher. Now, I think every single one of those competitors are fantastic in the ring, but I cannot stand the fact that they basically on Raw give you 1 or 2 Cruiserweight sample matches just to, give you a taste of what you're missing on 205 Live. And then on 205 Live, it's been a decent show, but there's only like 1 or 2 character development storylines going on at a time. Other than that, there's just a bunch of matches. And I mean, wrestling matches are great, but you gotta have some kind of story and character development within the matches. But Mustafa Ali, TJ Perkins, and Jack Gallagher picked up the victory. And, I mean, it was a very short match, and we could have had some more with it, but I'm kind of liking that Mustafa Ali. He's looking pretty good. And I'm getting bored of TJ Perkins because, oh my god, is he the most boring wrestler we've seen in the past 10 years. But also Jack Gallagher, he's awesome. He's my favorite cruiserweight, I think. But then next we had the New Day out in Cleveland talking about how they are going to win the Rumble and become the next Universal Champions. Plural, because they're all going to win the title. And it ended up in one big segment with the New Day, Enzo and Cass, Braun Strowman, Rusev, Jinder Mahal, and Titus O'Neil. And they all threw back and forth, with their words. And Rusev, oh my god, is Rusev awesome. His lines that he says are just so good. Like he comes out, you two call yourself Big Cass and Big E. Why you gotta put big in front of your names? We both know you're big. That's like me calling myself Handsome Rusev. And I thought that was hilarious because, Rusev is, not only is he a pretty good wrestler, but he got the chops to back it up too. So, Strowman, Rusev, Jinder, and Titus picked up that win. And then we had the United States Championship rematch with Chris Jericho versus Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens on commentary. Now, this was a decent match. I mean, it was also kind of short again. And it had a screwy finish again, which I'm getting sick of when it comes to screwy finishes on Raw. I mean, Raw is kind of reminding me of old school WCW where they constantly have screwy finishes and just weird things go wrong in matches, and I don't know, it's weird. But, thank God, Roman Reigns won via DQ, and Chris Jericho is still the champion. I would have had things a different way, but, as long as they keep that belt on Jericho for a little bit, because I do not want Roman Reigns to have another title, which is why I'm seriously dreading the Royal Rumble, because I know that they're going to give Roman that Universal title, and I just can't stand that. Because they see how people react when they do anything with Roman positive, because, they just boo him out of the building. I don't know where they're going with him. But, whatever they got to do, I guess. So then, Nia Jax faced a jobber named Ray Lynn, which obviously the match wasn't very long. Nia Jax basically squashed her. And then it ended up Sasha Banks comes out on her crutches, starts beating her with a crutch. I thought this was awesome. I've been getting kind of bored with Sasha Banks. I'm getting to think she was going to fall down to the lower card, but I thought that was awesome. She comes out and starts beating her with a crutch. Hell yeah. Way to go, way to give her some intensity. Sasha's probably one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster. I hate to see her float down to the mid or lower card. I don't like when they do that with such good talent, but this was cool, and I'm hoping that it's actually going to be a good match with her and Nia Jax instead of her just squashing Sasha the whole time. So there's that. And then we had a Cruiserweight division match, another sample match of Rich Swann versus Noam Dar, which I love both of these guys. Rich Swann, probably my third favorite of the Cruiserweights. My second favorite, next to Jack Gallagher, is definitely Noam Dar. I think Noam Dar is destined for superstardom. He has just loads of charisma, and he just oozes superstardom. I don't know. He's great. So he comes out with Alicia Fox and had a decent match with Rich Swann. Rich Swann picks up the victory. Heading into this Sunday Royal Rumble, he defends his title against Neville, which I'm hoping Neville gets that title, because if anybody deserves a title like that, it's definitely Neville. They've been sleeping on him for a couple years now, and ever since he's turned heel and been mean Neville, he is, oh my god, he just oozes character now. And he has like absolutely no character before, but now it was pretty awesome. So then we had the end of the night. Goldberg comes out, and he's, talking about winning the Rumble and being the next Universal Champion. But the problem is, he headbutts a locker or something on his way out. I guess it's a pre-match routine or, pre-entrance routine. He headbutts his locker, and his freaking forehead is just gushing blood the whole way to the ring. And he just keeps wiping it off in the ring. And you could tell it jarred him a little bit, because he kept saying, he kept screwing up his lines. And the crowd's chanting Goldberg. And he's saying, oh man, you guys are really making me mess up right now. When really, it's because he bashed his head against the locker. And he even mentioned, on Twitter later in the night, that he's going to stop that pre-match ritual because, I guess he, screwed himself up a little bit. But then, Goldberg's out talking, and then you hear Paul Heyman. He comes, introduces himself, talks about, Sunday, points to the Titantron. Out comes Brock Lesnar. And then you see in the ring, or before you see in the ring, Goldberg says, hey, if you have any balls or whatever, come down to the ring. So it's Lesnar versus Goldberg's face to face. And then you hear the Undertaker's gong. Lights go out, lights come back on. The Undertaker, Goldberg, and Brock Lesnar are all standing face to face in the middle of the ring. And let me tell you, that was probably the best way to end Monday Night Raw, because that leaves like an opening for so many dream encounters to happen at the Rumble. And I'm happy that they didn't start fighting on Raw and they saved it for the Rumble, because that you don't want to just give something like that away. I mean, they're part-timers, and they're not always there, so that's why they should just wait. Let it happen at the Rumble, let things happen there. And I'm going to give my predictions of the Rumble tomorrow. So I don't want to talk too much about the Rumble right now. So that was it for Monday Night Raw. It was a decent go-home show for the Royal Rumble. The rest of the show was kind of okay, but the fact that they ended, like I said, with those three in the middle of the ring, I thought that was pretty cool, and it was, appropriate for a go-home show. So that was it for Monday Night Raw, and now we're going to move over to SmackDown Live. We'll talk about that for a little bit. And that started off with Randy Orton versus Luke Harper. And this was very interesting. It was a pretty good match. And I mean, Luke Harper definitely has some in-ring abilities. He is a fantastic wrestler for a man of his size. And as we know, Randy Orton's a very good wrestler also. So they put on a pretty good match. But all the while the match is going on, Bray Wyatt is sitting outside the ring in his rocking chair, just not making eye contact with either one of them. And you can tell that he was, feeling kind of uncomfortable about this whole thing at first. But the more the match went on, Orton and Harper just kind of kept looking at Bray as they beat each other up, and eventually started putting a smile on Wyatt's face. And it ended up with, I forget what move Harper went for, but Orton countered it into one of the sweetest RKOs I've seen in a while. Like, Harper sold it like a champ. He RKO'd him on the mat, and then Harper just flew up like it was a Stone Cold Stunner back in the 90s. And the way he sold it was awesome. So there was that. Orton picks up the victory. And Bray Wyatt comes in the ring, shakes Randy Orton's hand, and then goes over to Harper, helps him up, and, he pulls him in for a hug. and then he flips him down, kisses him on the forehead, and he does a Sister Abigail to him. So I don't know where that's leading. I don't know if it's still... Well, first, I don't know if it's, Orton basically kissing Harper goodbye, telling him he's done with him. Maybe it's going to lead to a Harper face turn. But I still don't know if this is Randy Orton tearing apart the Wyatt family from the inside for a potential blow-off match between him and Bray Wyatt. So we'll see what happens there. Then there was an in-ring promo with Mickie James. Oh my God, welcome back, Mickie James. She is my favorite women's wrestler of all time. I have always loved Mickie James, and last night showed that she has not lost any mic ability at all. Like, she can still cut a great promo, a heel promo at that. She was fantastic. Basically talking about, how they all, Becky Lynch and all the women that were around her started this women's revolution, but they seem to have forgot Mickie James. And she kind of defended Alexa Bliss by saying, Alexa was the only one who remembered all of my championship wins and all kind of stuff, and so that's why she chose to help Alexa Bliss. And then Becky comes out, runs after Mickie James. Alexa Bliss comes out and helps Mickie James beat up Becky Lynch, so that ended with that. And that ended in, there's going to be a 6-woman tag match at the Royal Rumble. Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, and Natalya versus Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi. So that might be a pretty decent match. And then, oh my God, this segment seemed like it drug on forever. Carmella took James Ellsworth on his shopping spree. And, I kind of started to like James Ellsworth after he was involved with AJ Styles, because I think that whole angle was so stupid. Because AJ deserves so much more to be involved with freaking James Ellsworth. But as soon as he started coming out with Carmella, I thought that was pretty cute. It was cool. I don't know. But this whole segment kind of bummed me out, realizing how crap James Ellsworth actually is when it comes to his acting skills. Like, man, that took forever. And it ended up with him wearing basically a Carmella outfit, and she loved it, and oh, it was so boring. So then, there was a over-the-top rope challenge, and the winner got to be in the Rumble match. And I'm guessing that was the last SmackDown participant for the Rumble, so that's probably why they had an over-the-top rope challenge. But there was quite a few superstars in it, and the winner was Mojo Rawley. Now, a lot of people have mixed opinions of Mojo Rawley. I think he has a lot of character, a lot of charisma, and he's in the ring. I mean, he's not horrible, but he could be a lot better. And he got a huge pop when he won. People seem to like him. His last elimination was Breezango, and I think that, the way he eliminated them was pretty cool. Because he was through the rope, and he lifted one of them up and over the top rope, and it was pretty cool. I just hope they do more with Breezango pretty soon here, because I don't know what's going on with them. I honestly can't stand Fandango, but Tyler Breeze, maybe you have seen in NXT, because I know I have, but Tyler Breeze is a phenomenal wrestler. He had a great feud with Finn Balor NXT, and he has a lot of potential to be a superstar, but they just can't use him right. But then, we had a segment, AJ Styles calls out John Cena, and this segment was kind of controversial, because AJ said his thing to Cena like he normally does, and then Cena comes back and talking about, I stayed here my entire career because I didn't have to go to the indie scene like you. Now, okay, in that segment, John Cena basically buried AJ Styles with words, which definitely is not right. And if John Cena wins on Sunday, I don't know what to think of that, because they're going to probably consider AJ Styles buried. I think it's just the wrong way to go about things. I mean, Cena should be at least acknowledging the fact that AJ is the best wrestler in the world. I understand if Cena doesn't want to, put himself second to AJ, but at least make AJ look decently good. I mean, it's kind of like they're just crapping on him like he's nothing. And then Naomi was supposed to face Natalya. Naomi was waiting in the ring for Natalya. Natalya never comes out. Then they showed a backstage thing where her and Nikki Bella were fighting, and then that went underway for a little bit, and then Naomi said she's not going anywhere unless she gets a match. So then out comes Alexa Bliss, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool. And Alexa, being a heel she is, says that Naomi is not worth her time, and that she's basically a nothing, which I slightly agree with, because I do not like Naomi at all. But yeah, so that also led to that 6-woman tag match that's going to be on Sunday. And then the final match of the night, I thought was very fun. It was a Intercontinental Championship match, Dean Ambrose versus The Miz. It was The Miz's rematch, and he was backstage with Daniel Bryan and Maurice, and he said how he wants the match to be a no disqualification match. And Daniel Bryan's like, oh, what, so you can cheat? And he's like, you know what, why don't we make it a lumberjack match? And, Miz was pretty pissed about that, but they had all kind of superstars out at the ring, and you could tell the lack of roster by the amount of superstars were at the ring, because there was probably like 10. But on one side of the ring was the faces, and on the other side of the ring was the heels, basically. And The Miz, a couple times threw Dean Ambrose over the rope to the heels, and they would start beating up on Ambrose. And as soon as they start beating up on Ambrose starts firing back, and he just knocks them all over and climbs back in the ring. So I thought that was cool. Like, for the first time, I've never seen that before, where somebody got thrown outside in a lumberjack match, and the person that got thrown out beat up all the lumberjacks and went back in the ring. I mean, I probably have seen that before, but I don't remember in recent memory. But it was pretty cool. And it ended with, Dean hitting the Dirty Deeds for the win, and basically retained his title going into Sunday to the Royal Rumble. Now, I don't know what they're going to do exactly with Dean Ambrose from here on out, because he can't remain the Intercontinental Champion, because he's more of a superstar than that. See, I don't think that he is that great. I think his character is kind of boring sometimes. I think his wrestling ability is kind of boring sometimes. He's supposed to be like this lunatic fringe, but he's funny at best. Like, he doesn't really go above and beyond to seem crazy. I think the best way to make him seem like that is to turn him heel and have him just literally act crazy. They're just not going there with him. I don't know. But we'll see where he leads into the future, because I don't know about... He's going to be in the Rumble match, but he's also the Intercontinental Champion, so obviously he's not going to win the Rumble. So and who's he going to face at WrestleMania? I mean, it could be anybody, but leading into this, he don't have much of a storyline with anybody, because I would say that was his blow-off match with The Miz. So I don't really know where this is going to go from here. But okay, that was my Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live recap. I will be back tomorrow for my Royal Rumble predictions, and you will not want to miss that, because I have some pretty sweet theories when it comes to what actually may happen this Sunday at the Rumble, because I think it's going to be one of the best Rumbles we've seen in a long time. So that's it for this episode. Be sure to check out the Wrestlepedia podcast. I will have a lot more to come. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your days.